Watching and connected, but it's never enough. Talking with our friends about our favorite things. TV shows and movies and some random swearing. Hey! 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 This is the pretty, this is the little, this is the pretty little podcast.
Take it away.
What?
I'm handing this one to you. This is your episode.
Hello, you pretty little people. This is the Pretty Little Podcast. That's your host, Deadbeat Chad. And with him, that's me, is just Jess. Hello. Hi. Okay. Chad, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about Studio Ghibli.
Oh, yeah? Not Hayao Miyazaki?
More importantly, the Hayao Miyazaki films, because people tend to confuse when it comes to these movies. They think that this man has created all of them, and he hasn't. We might go into that a little bit, but we're going to be focusing mainly on the films that Hayao Miyazaki has directed, written, produced.
And who's Hayao Miyazaki, you might ask? Well, let me tell you. He is a Japanese animator, filmmaker, and manga artist. He co-founded Studio Ghibli and serves as its honorary chairman. Throughout his career, Miyazaki has attained international acclaim as a masterful storyteller and creator of Japanese animated feature films and is widely regarded as one of the most accomplished filmmakers in the history of animation.
And he also has retired, 6 times now?
Yeah, I get the feeling it's like every other week. He's like, okay, actually, I'm old. Because, he was born in 1941. So
yeah, He's an elderly man. You wouldn't know by looking at him. He doesn't look that old.
He's looked the same.
Yeah.
I put him up there with like Patrick Stewart and other people who have just always looked exactly the same.
Yeah, they just aged early and then stayed that way.
I think there's a secret in that.
It works.
But yeah, no, it should be a shock to no one that between the two of this was something that I suggested we do as an episode because you bring up animation. And
and you're by far the one in the house that likes anime the most, and manga too. I kind of prefer manga to anime in a lot of ways.
It depends on the property for me.
But for me, anime has to be there's some weird formula there that actually works for my brain, and it's just got to be over the top, action packed, extremely weird and strange. And that just...
You like Friend shonen stuff.
Yeah.
So.
That's weird because Studio Ghibli, I like these films and they're not that.
No, not at all.
These are very much little diorama slice of life.
Kind of. Sometimes. It depends on the movie. Some of them get pretty dark and a lot of them, the messaging is so masterfully done that... because Miyazaki's views, again, he was born in 1941. So when he was a baby, boom. He grew up during World War II in Japan.
At that time, anime didn't really exist.
Well, I just mean if you look at the themes in his movies, war and it being a source of, oh, that's not good, is prevalent in a lot of his movies. And he is, he lived in Japan during World War II. He saw what happened, when the bombs fell and all kinds of stuff.
This is the case with, when you call somebody a pioneer.
Oh,
For me, the pioneers were not inspired by the medium. They were inspired by real life events that they experienced. Mm-hmm. Right. War was a big one, especially back in, the 40s. And being from Japan, that...
he saw the horrors of war when he was very
the best
little.
writers, best classic writers that we know usually went to war. Mm-hmm. They had those experiences overseas and in different countries, and they were, worldly. And they used that as inspiration to write stories. And then future generations were using their stories to get inspired.
Sure.
And, that's kind of where we're at now.
Well, yeah, and this is something else from the wiki that I liked. Miyazaki's works are frequently subject to scholarly analysis and have been characterized by the recurrence of themes such as humanity's relationship with nature and technology, the importance of art and craftsmanship, and the difficulty of maintaining a pacifist ethic in a violent world. His protagonists are often strong girls or young women, and several of his films present morally ambiguous antagonists with redeeming qualities. So there's a lot of complexity here, and this makes me think of oh, was it? I think it was the Roger Rabbit episode where I was like, there really are some men that just shouldn't write women.
Yeah.
Miyazaki understands girls and women so well. And to be fair, all the movies he directed, he didn't necessarily write. Okay. Like Howl's Moving Castle, my favorite. I'm wearing one of my Howl's Moving Castle. And I do say one of my Howl's Moving Castle shirts today. He didn't write that. It's from a book from Diana Wynne Jones.
Right.
But even if he didn't actually write them, he's able to see them. He did write the screenplay for that, by the way, but it was adapted from a book. He's able to see the mixture of fragility, innocence, and strength. And his movies are chock fucking full of what I would actually call any kind of feminism that I would relate to. Because they're not afraid to ask for help, most of them. Sometimes they need help regardless, even like someone like San in Princess Mononoke, the wolf girl. She isn't really down for asking for help, especially from Ashitaka, but she still needs help. But that doesn't make her weak, So it's this balance that he gets so beautifully well. So
he strikes me as somebody that probably like I know very little about.
You don't know him?
Miyazaki. No, I don't. I would assume he has kids, maybe grandkids, and it in a lot of ways, like I refer to my uncle growing up, who was one of the coolest people that I knew, and it was because even though he was much older than us, like we would be building forts, and he would be building forts with us. Yeah. He was always interested in figuring out what we were into, trying to get like on our level.
Yeah.
And there was just something,
but in a
that
sincere way.
Yes,
like wanting to relate and share your world with me.
Me and my sister, we have shitloads of cousins, and we would back in the day we would all go to his house when our parents wanted to go together to like Vegas or something. We would stay at my uncle's house for the weekend,
right?
And they would go do their thing, and we would spend all weekend making forts and all kinds of shit. And he would be right there with us, and like it takes that kind of person, and that's why I kind of feel like Miyazaki might be that type of person because of the way he writes children and the way that like the kids in the movies are always the ones to pick up on those subtle nuances, things going on in the environment that may spell danger, while the adults are just kind of oblivious to it, and they move the plot along while the kids are apprehensive.
Right.
It usually, a lot of these movies too deal with moving. I've noticed, like moving to a new location.
Oh, yeah.
Like children, like that's one of the worst things that can happen to a kid.
I know. It happened to me.
Moving constantly.
It's your entire life is gone, and you have to start over.
Having to make new friends and figure out a new environment. And
when you're in like elementary school, that is fucking earth shattering.
Yeah, and in a way, it's like trying to refigure yourself out again once you've already figured it out.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I'm sure it's easier now, more or less. We didn't have social media. So even though like when my mom got remarried and moved us to a new house, it was probably only about 40 minutes away from where I had always lived prior to that.
But that might as well be...
There was no social media. I didn't go back for another 3 years.
Yeah, that might as well have been another state or another country.
Yeah. No, I didn't see those people again.
Yeah. I mean, it happened to me too.
So, but yeah, no, that is a common theme. In his movies, and also that kind of through the looking glass style. He's really good at fantasy that just kind of hovers on the edge of everyday life. It's those little hidden moments.
Right.
That little bit of
it's extremely grounded
magic
in something you would recognize while being completely otherworldly. And the balance there is incredible for a movie that any of the movies that he's done, they don't really explain the rules
they don't
as to what's going on.
That is the sign of a filmmaker who I feel safe in their hands. And I've talked about that on previous episodes as well. Like sometimes I need to believe that the person, the writer, the director, whoever's creating this has me. Yes. And so I can be carried along, and eventually they will let me know what I need to know, but also don't treat me like a fucking child and let me, which since a lot of these movies are aimed a little more, or, children tend to be one of the main audiences for this, really speaks to his appreciation for them as people. You know, because I know, like, when our kid was little, obviously our kid is like 20 now.
Oh yeah,
but
yeah.
we didn't do the baby talk. We didn't, you know, I treated her like a
is like
small
one of the worst
person.
things you could do to children.
Yeah, and so you can take the time to explain things in words that they understand, and maybe, but you don't necessarily limit your vocabulary so much. You more like just a little bit, and then make them stretch to meet you, and then that helps their brain. So he's really good at stuff like that.
So what was your first experience with
I can tell you exactly
a Studio Ghibli
where I
film?
was. It was in, well, the first one I saw, my friend Jenny introduced me to two things that really, you know, were wonderful in my life, and that's Animal Crossing, which I haven't played in years now, but still it was a big thing for a long time. And then Hayao Miyazaki. And I used to go hang out at her apartment and stay up all night because, like, she had a GameCube and she had Animal Crossing, and, you know.
Yeah, Animal Crossing is one of those games that you can't really play for like an hour. It requires
no,
at least
I literally
a
just
solid
would go over to
6
her
to 8
apartment
hours.
and not sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an all night thing because, I mean, the original one on the GameCube was a lot more. Anyways, we're not talking about Animal Crossing. So Castle in the Sky was the first one I saw. And that one, she was like, you know, she knew I liked some anime stuff. Again, this was in the early 2000s. So it wasn't the proliferation of ridiculous levels of anime had not happened yet, at least in America. Right. So you kind of had to know someone
I know what you mean.
So she showed it to me, and Castle in the Sky is a good one. It has aspects I really like, and it's not in my top 3, but I still had never seen anything like it. And I do need to be clear that when we're saying what we've seen, unfortunately, I am talking about the ones that Disney distributed over here that,
right,
you know, have English voice actors and all of that. And, you know, in this case, the main two are Anna Paquin and James Van Der Beek.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Jesus Christ. He was 48.
Yeah.
But he was great in this. But yeah, so that was the first one I saw. And the first half is typical, just like girl running from people, meets people to help her out, and everything comes together at the end. But the last, I would say, fourth of the movie is what I really grew to. When everything's revealed and you get to Laputa. Spoilers if you haven't seen Miyazaki movies, man. I don't know what to tell you. When you see the robots and the Risukitsu, the little fox squirrel guys, and it was so fucking magical. I'd never seen a robot that looked like that with the long arms. It was just, everything was similar.
Well, in that movie in particular too, like while we were watching it, I was like, Zelda must have been influenced by this somehow. Like,
oh yeah,
take any Zelda game and there's elements of Zelda,
especially the later ones. Yeah, once you get to Laputa, there's a lot of like Breath of the Wild style, like, you know, the art,
definitely Breath of the Wild. The
way the blue light travels through stone and stuff like that.
Well, even just with the concept of like there being like land masses in the air.
Well, sure, yeah, Skyward Sword.
Yes,
Yay.
yeah.
But it was something that, because for so much of that movie, although there are like airships, and I love the way he does technology in this kind of more steampunky way, a lot of the times it was still very much grounded in a reality that I could understand. But then here comes this completely magical side, you know, and you're like, whoa, hold on. And it really opens up at the end. And yeah.
Yeah, so. It seems like there's common themes here too, with things, technology especially, that are either like part of the Industrial Revolution, or magic.
Yes.
Usually combined in some kind of way.
And he loves wind stuff. Anything wind powered, steam powered, stuff like that.
And it really does make for an interesting aesthetic that, like, I wish we could see more of.
Oh yeah, no, I love the designs that.
But it definitely, watching something like Castle in the Sky, it really does have this like quality of like a JRPG
Sure, which I already, was a fan of at that point. There is a quality to his work that is just, it's just fucking special. But because also I need it pointed out that a lot of these, or several of these movies, Castle in the Sky, My Neighbor Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service, a lot of those were made in the 80s, right?
Yes. Nausicaa.
Yeah. Yes. Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. So it has the animated style is very much of the 80s. So
Right.
it hit that nostalgia thing for me.
But these weren't
But
put
I had
on-
never seen it.
Right, and they weren't put on DVD or Blu-ray until
No.
like after the 2000s.
Yes. Yeah. No,
So
it
these
came
felt
out.
new, but also familiar. So yes, a lot of these films, I would say the most prolific time in Ghibli's history was probably 80s through mid 90s.
Yeah.
And then by the late 90s, it seemed to be like a movie every 3 years.
Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away,
Yeah.
then Howl's Moving Castle, Ponyo.
And especially now that like Miyazaki really is trying to retire.
Yeah, but then
They
he just
come out
came
kind
out
of-
with a banger a couple of years ago and won the Academy Award for Best
Right.
Animated Feature, so he is beloved by the world.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, my first
Yeah, I was
experience
just gonna ask
was Spirited Away back in 2000, 2001.
2001.
2001, it was in theaters here, and some friends of mine were super interested in seeing this, and I believe it was in IMAX, as a matter of fact. And I had no idea what Studio Ghibli was. I didn't know who Hayao Miyazaki was, nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about his directing style,
That's
his
how it
writing
was
style,
back then.
or anything like that. So I really didn't know what I was getting into. And I remember
Right.
having a conversation with them talking about it, and I was like, oh, so it's anime. This is going to be like Ghost in the Shell or Ninja Scroll
Right.
or things Dragon Ball, things
Yeah.
that I was familiar with at the time. And no,
No, it's
it was
its own
completely
thing.
different. But I was honestly captivated by it, start to finish. And
Spirited Away is fucking
watching
incredible.
that on, an IMAX screen really was probably the best way to be brought into a Miyazaki
Dude,
Studio
mine was
Ghibli
on
thing.
like, sorry, Jenny, a rinky-dink ass television,
Right.
in a crappy apartment. Sorry,
So
again.
I have very, very
So, damn.
powerful memories of going to see that, mainly just because of the scope of it and seeing it in the theater and the sound
Yeah.
being what it was and just the quality of it. You could tell that there was substance to this.
Well,
Yeah, I
and that's
believe
such
that
a
even
cool
won-
one to see
didn't
in
that win an
IMAX.
award?
Oh, yeah, it won Best Animated Feature.
There you
That
go.
won an Oscar, too.
Yeah, I remember that being a really big
That
deal.
was, that's where he started breaking in over here.
Right. And then
was
after
the Spirited
that,
Away.
like Disney got a hold of the distribution rights
Yeah.
for home video, DVD.
And brought in a bunch of like movie stars of various levels. But then some actual super iconic voice actors. Tress MacNeille is in a lot of these.
Mark Hamill's in a few.
Yeah.
John
yeah.
DiMaggio was in a
Mhm.
couple of them.
Mhm.
So yeah, I would say that the additional cast or whatever,
But they really
cast,
do
they're
a
just
good
as
job.
good, and there's no bad talent here, and that's across the board. Aside from the voice
Which
acting,
is- yeah.
the directing, the animation,
the music.
the
Oh.
music, everything, just the atmosphere that these take
Mhm.
place in, everything about this is just, it really is movie magic.
No, you are a part of that world for a time.
Yeah.
You are with them, and yeah, it's amazing. And I say that, I almost need to put an asterisk that no, actually, the Hollywood actors are actually really pretty good in these, because I'm very much not typically a fan of actors
Celebrity
taking
voices. Yes.
fuck that. Like, I am a big supporter of actual voice actors.
I agree
It's
that
a
they need to be
separate
separated.
skill set most of the time.
But then when you have,
Frank Welker and stuff is in some of these too.
yeah. But then when you have somebody like Christian Bale voicing Howl, and it's like, who else would do that now?
Yeah.
I mean, he's synonymous with that character.
I'm sure we'll talk about it, but that okay. I was destroyed when I learned that, because I actually didn't know that for a long time. Howl's Moving Castle is my favorite one. It's objectively not the best Miyazaki movie, but it's my favorite.
Right.
And for the longest time, I couldn't fucking stand Christian Bale. You can attest to this, because I would rant about him.
Right.
Because he
You knew him as Patrick Bateman.
he was too good in American Psycho, and every time I heard his name, I thought of him flexing and looking in the mirror, and it's the grossest thing I've ever seen, and I can't stand it. And so to find out that he was Howl was actually far more devastating to me than it should have been, but I was so crestfallen.
Yeah, no, Christian Bale's great.
No, I've since come around on him because I saw him in other things. Equilibrium, I love. The Prestige, I fucking love. The Big Short, I love. Les Mis. Well, yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't in Les Mis.
Was he not?
No, that's Hugh Jackman, who I don't like.
Okay.
He was in Newsies.
Yeah, he was in Newsies.
But no, I've since come around on Christian Bale. Now, most people don't like him because he, had that rant on the Terminator set forever ago, but that's just funny to me, so it's whatever. But yeah, no, so most people do a really good job. That needs to be said because I don't typically, I have no interest in seeing like the Mario movies, for example. Once I heard the casting and all of that, yeah. I'm like, nah.
I mean, as far as those types of movies go, like
it's not my
long
thing.
since grown out of it.
Yeah, sure. But like that's examples of like where you just want the name and not the performance,
Well, and
so I don't like that.
You want the best people for the job, whether they're famous or not. And that's
I'm saying that's how it tends to go lately. Is they just want the name. Yeah, so they can put like 15 celebrities' names on the fucking
asses in the seats.
And I don't like that. The voice actors are far more impressive to me. And I've met a bunch of them over the years. And they're fucking insanely talented artists. So anyways.
Actors have never been able to get me in a theater. It's always a director that gets me into a theater. And I don't really like going to theaters anymore.
Well, no, you don't. I don't know. I just, if a trailer looks good, I'm like, cool. I don't care about directors as much as you do. Although Miyazaki's very good. I will, yeah. Okay, you know what? Yeah. Miyazaki's a director that actually, because when Boy and the Heron was in theaters, we went to saw, well, you didn't, but me and the kiddo and my mom went to see it. Because hell yeah. Of course I'm going to see it.
Well,
and it was great.
We have spent a lovely week every night watching.
I couldn't tell if you were actually enjoying it or if you were like, "Oh my god, I can't wait for this slice of life stuff to be
I liked it. There were a couple that like Ponyo, for example. Like that was one of our kids' favorite movies growing up, so that's always gonna be special.
Ponyo,
but I never
Totoro and Kiki's Delivery Service were her three favorites.
Yeah, Kiki's Delivery Service was another one too. That Ponyo and Kiki specifically, they were always on in the house so much that I only caught bits and parts of it while I happened to be walking past the TV or just sitting there for a second or two or whatever. And this is the first time that I actually sat and watched them.
Oh, yeah. I was with the kids, so.
Yeah.
Ooh, I have seen them.
Ponyo, like, again, I love it.
I think it's cute.
It's a cute film. It is not my favorite.
Well, you aren't the intended audience for Ponyo.
No.
But I do like the innocence of the love that she and Sosuke, not Naruto, sorry. Sosuke share. It is love, but it's not necessarily like there's nothing sexual about it. It's just more like a family. Well, yeah, and there probably is a little bit of that curiosity of, oh, I like you, I don't know why.
Right.
But it's done so well that it is so innocent that it's not weird or anything. And
I would say that out of all of them that we watched, I mean, I've seen, the vast majority that we did watch this week, I've seen multiple times. Right. But I think Kiki's Delivery Service is the one that surprised me the most because there were like 3 moments where I actually did laugh because they caught me off guard without thinking about it. And
was it Gigi? I don't know when you laughed. Gigi, that's her cat. That's Phil Hartman.
Yeah, there was a moment with him. There was another one where she was making a delivery at a house and she had to leave to go to a event, the party, and like it just cut to this old woman living there trying to fly on her broom.
Oh, yeah.
So there were these little moments that caught me off guard.
Tress McNeil's good in that. She's the lady who owns the bakery who helps out.
Yeah,
I like Tress McNeil, so I'm always glad when she shows up in things.
Well, and then also watching like Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. That one is, I mean, that's just a classic anyway. Yeah. But watching it and just really realizing how influenced by that era it was, because like the art style in that really reminds me of comic book legend Mobius. He was a French comic book artist that he did a lot of stuff, but he was most known here for his segments in heavy metal.
Oh, okay.
So there were a lot of heavy metal type animation styles going on in that. It even looked to me like it might have been influenced a little bit by like Dune.
Possibly.
Especially with like all the airships and things like that. But
Patrick Stewart does a good job in that. Yeah. Well, and you mentioned, there's a YouTube channel you like. It's called like filmmaking stuff or something like that.
Yeah.
And he has mentioned that this is his favorite movie or something like that. And he's a really cool channel. You watch him to go to sleep, but he like does kit bashing and all this creation.
Yeah, a lot
and
of the stuff
this
he
whole
makes
world.
is
And I'm like,
influenced
I could absolutely see the
Nausicaa.
influence there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just been this like really nice,
A whimsical week.
Yeah.
It's the week of whimsy.
As big as a undertaking as that is, when you sit back and you're like, oh man, this is going to be a solid week of watching things. It just, once you're in it, like, I got to the point where I started looking forward to it.
Well, it was interesting to me because I specifically didn't pick. You picked which one we watched in each order. So I was always like, I wonder what it's
the only
gonna be.
one we didn't get to was Secret World of Arietti.
Yeah, we didn't watch the Secret World of Arietti, which is his version of the Borrowers. And that one I do enjoy. I love the little world, and I just love the concept of, a needle is a sword, a button is a plate,
right?
Because whatever. But he does have that hint of shadow and darkness, because the boy in that one, the human boy, is very ill and is like sent to the country to recover because he's about to have surgery and he needs to try and regain his strength. And he kind of meets Arietti and falls into this little world in this tiny adventure. But he, he's in his pajamas and he can't breathe. And, so it's this whole thing.
Yeah, and because of the scale of the movie, because Arietti is obviously
She's
tiny little woman.
Yeah, so is her parents.
Watching that, I mean, not this week, but when I did watch that, it kind of gives you that same feeling as watching like Chippendale's Rescue Rangers, because they're all so tiny and like everything is like, like you said, a button is a plate.
Yeah. Well, and for book nerds out there, I'm sure you're listening. If you've ever read any of Brian Jacques Redwall books, it's kind of very similar to that, only like the borrowers are people. They're just little. They're not like actually mice and badgers and, all that type of stuff. But yeah,
but again, that one
so
too
creative.
is just it's another one of those films that just, it's kind of this little diorama. You get the idea in a lot of these, especially
literally in that one.
Yes, Secret World of Arietti. It's
house
almost
is comprised
like
of dioramas.
Do you remember in school when we would have like a project where we had to make a diorama?
I loved those projects. Man,
and then
I loved making
they would put them
dioramas.
in the library on top of the bookcases. And then
My Parthenon was the best.
Yeah, and then they would call classes in there to walk around and look at all the dioramas, walk through the library in a line or whatever. And you kind of, watching that movie, you get the feeling of that. Like, it's just a child that's looking into a diorama and just coming up with this story.
Well, and I think there's also an important message of no matter how small or how sick you are, that doesn't mean that you can't have a good heart and can't find a way to help, because they help each other, even though they're from very different worlds, and both are very weak in different ways. Him because he has these health issues, and her just because of her size, but they still have a connection. And Miyazaki does that so fucking well. These different people from different worlds connecting on like a soul level, and just like, I see you and we are in this together. Like, oh, it's so fucking feel good. It's nice.
Yeah, again, these are definitely like little...
He does found family to perfection.
It's like, if things like Stardew Valley and
Which is,
Animal Crossing are
love.
like cozy games, these are cozy movies.
Yeah.
They
so why do you think I have like all this stuff? I mean, I actively am playing Stardew Valley. I, modded on my computer right now. Well, not right now, but I have earlier today. I will tonight. And, things like that.
It just really was a great week of like, the world is burning around us and we just are safe in our home watching these little
But I think
movies.
the message you should take from that is, even if the world is burning, that doesn't mean there isn't hope. That doesn't mean there isn't light and love and ways that you can help.
But it really does, I highly recommend you do that. Just watch one of these things every night for a week.
Oh man.
And watch
Total reset.
how quickly
So nice.
Yeah, it resets your brain, and it really does. It's a nice distraction from everything going on around you.
Because again, there's war, there's death in these movies.
Yeah.
There's hopeless situations, but they're never actually truly hopeless. It's a matter of looking at it, looking not at, oh my God, look what's happened, but how can I help? What can I do, even if I'm small, even if I don't have a lot of power?
Mm-hmm.
What can I do?
Yeah, and these are great films to raise your kids on too.
100%.
The kids in these movies are all very respectful.
Mm-hmm.
They want to help. They want to do things. They want to help with the cooking, and they want to help with the chores and things like that. And it really is.
I promise you, it had an effect on our kid.
Yeah,
I really think it did.
It really is a good idea to have your kids, familiar with these concepts as they're growing up, and you will have a better kid because of it.
I mean, I'm sure you remembered, like, I had to make paño soup, which is what we called it in our house, for a long time.
Yep.
Because it was like her favorite thing, which is, ramen with like green onions and pieces of ham. Because Ponyo loves ham. But our kid wanted to help me do it. And I do need to say also, not every kid in these movies starts out super helpful or adult. You look at someone like Chihiro in Spirited Away at the beginning, she's moving to a new town. She whines, and understandably so, okay?
Right.
But she is very immature for her age, and that could just be the situation she's in, or just because she's never really come up against any problems in her life. And she is stripped from her parents, forced to work in a bathhouse, surrounded by all these crazy creatures. She doesn't know who or what might be trying to kill her. She doesn't know if she can trust Haku. She doesn't know who she can trust or anything. Yeah. But she grows and becomes secure in herself throughout the course of the movie. Not perfectly. She messes up numerous times.
Yeah, but
she does learn. And by the end, she's like, oh, no, it's fine.
In the case of Spirited Away, yes, she does start off, when they are going to their new town or whatever. She is kind of mopey. She's not upset.
Understandably so.
She's upset about it.
Yeah.
But once she actually gets into the situation she's in, like, all of that goes out the window. There is
she has to focus on survival and saving her parents.
There is a moment where the character just kind of snaps and says, like, I have to step up to this challenge now because I'm here. Complaining is not going to help. And again, this is why I say these movies are very good to raise your kids on because they pick up on those subtle, nuanced behaviors of these kids. Not only that, but like, these are legitimately characters that they can look up to.
100%.
Especially in a world today where like anime is kind of
everything.
taken over everything. Anime, manga, like, kids love these things anyway. This is just a very easy thing to just kind of put in front of them, and they will get it immediately. They will understand it. They will love it. And there's no way, I mean, how many movies did we watch this week? 8 or so?
A lot.
There's no way you can show your kid 8 of these movies and not have them love at least like 2 or 3 of them.
Sure. Yeah.
And want to watch them.
And it doesn't matter which one they pick. They'll get good messaging out of it. And Chihiro, she does cry at the beginning, which again is understandable. Like, these kids act like kids, but he doesn't. Miyazaki's very good at understanding the depth that they hold within them. Just most people don't bother to look or acknowledge it because they're like, oh, they're fucking kids.
Well, and what they're capable of, they're just never given a chance.
Yeah, and so after she is successful, her parents obviously don't remember anything that has just happened. And they're like, it's going to be okay, sweetie. And she's like, oh, no. Now the whole idea of moving to a new town and going to a new school, that's fucking nothing.
Right.
Look what I just went through.
Yeah.
I got this.
Yeah. Spirited Away kind of...
that's character development.
Spirited Away feels to me like an Alice in Wonderland or a Wizard of Oz type thing. There's not a whole...
yeah, it's more Wizard of Oz, probably.
There's not like a ton going on with this plot. And it does kind of require that you understand Japanese culture because they go into like it's not a theme park. It's like
Well,
a,
it was an
Okay.
abandoned theme park. They made them in the 90s, and then Japan's
if you
economy
don't-
crashed.
if you don't understand Japanese culture,
Right.
like especially when it comes to like theme parks, there are tons of abandoned theme parks in Japan that they just don't do anything with. They let
Yep.
nature take it over.
Yep.
And so that explains a lot as to why this theme park is here.
Mhm.
And on Western cultures, it wouldn't make sense because that land is valuable.
We would
You could
automatically
tear it
think they're
down and build
haunted.
a mall or
Be like,
a
oh God,
Walmart
what the
or
fuck
something.
happened here?
Yeah. So you do kind of have to have some kind of, idea of
Yeah,
Japanese
but kids
culture.
don't really think that hard about it, I don't think. They're just like, ooh.
No, but the way that
ready
it
to get
is
to it.
repurposed for a place for spirits to go
Yeah.
to relax,
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
it is very cool.
Yeah.
And
Well, and No Face, like every character in this movie has a character arc. Everybody gets development as far as like
Right.
named characters. Even people like Lynn, who's
And
just like her.
this is another thing too,
Mentor.
as to why this is important to
Haku,
understand about
to
their
Yamada,
culture, because they do
No
believe
Face.
wholeheartedly that if we don't tear it down, it will be a place that the spirits can go.
Yeah. Well, yeah, when they turned off of that road, there was all the little houses that she asks about. Chihiro
Yes.
does, and her mom's like, "Oh, well, people think that spirits live there."
Well, and Chihiro is a great example of a Miyazaki character, like I was mentioning earlier, that picks up on all those subtle little things that the adults just don't notice.
Yeah.
And that kind of makes her apprehensive about what, whenever they first go into
She's
this
like,
theme
"No,
park
I don't want to go."
and they find the food stall and they just sit down and start eating.
She
and
is able
doesn't
to
wanna eat.
resist the allure that her parents immediately fall prey to.
Right.
They don't even question it.
And so at any point in this movie, really, if she had just given into a desire, that would have been
Oh, they
the
would
end
have
of
all
it.
been fucked. They never would. Their car would have been found abandoned at some point, and
So-
no one would have known what happened.
There is definitely a message there, especially for kids, to not to
Trust your gut.
trust your gut. Don't just give in to your desires or your vices,
Mhm.
because the vices are detrimental.
100%.
And children characters in these, like I said, they tend to be the ones that understand that.
hmm
And I thought that was pretty cool, and I really wanted to hit on that.
And she
point because-
tried. She was like, "Come on, you guys, don't eat. Well, stop eating. What are you doing?" And her parents, her dad even says, "Oh, don't worry. Daddy's got credit cards and cash. Like, we'll just pay whoever. Someone will show up. I'll give them money. It's fine.
Yeah.
You were not invited. This is not for you." So she also learns a very, very valuable lesson of what not to do. that you don't
Absolutely.
do that.
And yeah,
So-
Spirited Away is absolutely my favorite of these movies.
Mm.
And that could be just because of the experience I had watching it in theaters.
I would love to see it in IMAX. That would be awesome.
Not only is it my favorite, but I do think that it is the best. That's just my personal thing. I think that, when you're talking about these movies, first of all, you can't compare this to other movies. You can only compare them to each other,
Well, even still, that's not easy.
because these films blow any other film out of the water when it comes
Sure,
to
yeah,
storytelling,
absolutely.
direction, art style.
We could do an
execution.
entire episode of which is the better movie objectively, Spirited Away or Princess Mononoke, when it comes to everything. I'm not going to include Howl in that because Howl's Moving Castle, although, like I said, it's my favorite, it's not the best. There are some things like I had to explain to you while we were watching
I will say-
about like the prince and stuff. Like, ugh.
I will say that I am probably going to have to sit back and readdress that, because we watched The Boy and the Heron
Yeah,
and I had never seen it.
right.
And that movie is fucking incredible.
Isn't it?
And I think that might
It's
be,
really wonderful.
that might top Spirited Away.
Wow.
I'll have to watch it again. But
I've only seen that one, I think, 3 times now. I saw it twice in theaters.
yeah, do yourselves a favor. Go watch that movie. Even if you have no interest in anime or anything like that, that movie is a goddamn masterpiece.
Well, and the Boy and the Heron, when we were watching it, I like gasped out loud and I was like, I just realized something, but I have to wait for the podcast. So thank you for that segue. I'm going to take advantage of it. This is Miyazaki's Narnia. It takes place during
Yeah.
World War II.
Yeah.
Bombs fall. Children have to go to the countryside, enter this magical world, and learn about themselves with all these crazy creatures, and then come back. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, it's like Narnia.
yeah, I absolutely don't want to ruin anything about that movie for you. Just do yourself a favor and go watch it.
Oh, we're not spoiling that one.
I don't
Okay.
see a reason to spoil any
But
of these.
that is
but-
one that the voice acting again is so good. And because I had heard that Robert Pattinson was the Heron, And I was like,
You
okay.
can't
And then
tell.
you watch it and you're like, are you sure? Are you like real sure?
Yeah, you can't tell. It's
It's crazy.
his
It's
capability
good.
in that film.
He does a good
was
job,
incredible.
but I really want to see him record that. Like I want the footage from the booth because I can't.
think I even
picture
told you
it.
while we were watching. I was like, so there's points where he sounds like Tom Waits.
Yeah.
It's really strange
Yeah.
that he was able to do that, but
Good on him.
it is what it is. But yeah, that movie is incredible, and I like.
It's really good.
I mean,
and it's another one that, goddamn, it's so sad.
we can. Look, I could do this. I can give you top 5 right
Okay.
now. Nausicaa,
Mm-hmm.
Spirited Away,
Mm-hmm.
Howl's Moving Castle,
Huh?
Princess Mononoke,
Yeah.
and The Boy and the Heron.
Oh, I love Princess.
Those are
Mononoke.
those are cream of the crop Miyazaki Ghibli movies.
Yeah. Well, we didn't watch My Neighbor Totoro because,
I've seen it.
but
Totoro is always going to be a
You
top
say
favorite
that,
just because
but-
I mean Totoro's the goddamn mascot for Studio Ghibli.
I know that, but I watched it a lot when our kid was little, and it was one I always fell asleep during. But when we had HBO Max for a while, I went back and I did a Ghibli run because they were all there, and I was like, oh fuck yeah, now I don't
Yeah,
have to think about what to watch while I'm working for a while. And I watched Totoro again, and there is actually a lot to that and a lot of depth, and I enjoy it a lot more than I used to. I also used to have to watch it so much.
My Neighbor Totoro is the
But-
one film in his filmography that I'm just like, I just don't get it.
That's why I think you should go back and rewatch it
I
now.
just don't. I've seen it probably 4 or 5 times at this point.
I
but
think you should go back and
it's
watch it.
it's fine. It's fun enough. Like it's
It's
visually
sad.
stunning.
Again, it's another one that has this undercurrent of despair and finding hope in random places. Because with the mother in the hospital and these girls, their dad does his best, but like
My Neighbor
ugh.
Totoro is the one film of his that just kind of, man, it just kind of needs a fire under its ass to get going.
I think it's purposefully not there. That's not the point of the film.
The first hour of that movie, like nothing is happening.
That's not true though.
And it is quite good. I do think that once it does get going, it gets
I think
going.
it's
but
purposefully slower paced to show it. I think of it this way. How long it used to be as a kid to get to Christmas, right? It took 5 fucking years from the time we went back to school to even Thanksgiving break.
well, yeah.
Really, it's a couple of months, and now this time flies fast.
When you're 4 years old, a year is a fourth of your life.
I know, but what I'm saying is, in this case, it's news about their mother. Is she going to be okay? Is she going to come home? And it stretches out in these long, quiet moments of waiting. And so much of that movie is about trying to distract yourself in little ways because
no,
this
we've-
fucking thing is right there.
We have all had this. Like for
That's
me,
what I'm saying. That's
for
the
me
purpose of it to
personally,
me.
Like for me growing up, my parents were divorced, so my dad would pick me up on the weekends.
Right.
I used to actually like my dad at one point in my life, which is hard to believe, but he would pick me up,
Yeah, well.
and then he would have to go. He was, aside from working a 9-to-5 job, he was also like a birthday clown and a magician and shit. He was a very weird dude, but like his peak times to do that were Saturdays and Sundays for birthday parties. So there were times where he would pick me up on the weekend, and like Saturday, he would leave me at the babysitter and go do a birthday party or something. And I would be so bored out of my skull
Yeah.
that a minute would go by and it would feel like an hour.
Mhm. Well, yeah, we all used to be in school and be like, okay, I'm not going to look at the clock. The bell's going to ring any
Right.
moment. And then you look and it's been 4 minutes and you're like, how?
It's been 12 hours.
But imagine instead of something to look forward to, it's this impending possible terrible news or wonderful news, and you don't know what it's going to be. That is baked into every long moment in Totoro.
Yeah, and again, if I'm not
So-
saying that My Neighbor Totoro is the worst film that he's
No,
done.
I'm just
by
saying
any
I
stretch
have
of
found a new
imagination. It's just-
appreciation for it that I didn't used to have. And
It's
I
just
think
one of
I
those
get
movies
it
that
now.
just didn't grab me.
But we do need to talk about Princess Mononoke more. Like, I love that movie so much. I have Kodama tattooed
You do.
on my arm, amongst the ferns and all of that. I was like, oh, I'd love to have them just kind of peeking out of the greenery.
Yeah, they're great.
That the Kodama are my wallpaper on my desktop.
Yeah.
You know, it
they're
is
cute.
such
They're
a
kind of
well,
like the oids in Animal Crossing.
yeah, well, they're cute, creepy, right? They're unsettling with their like head thing, but they're a sign that the forest is healthy. And I love their little butts, and I love, you know, when they're happy, and it is okay. We can use this as a segue into something else that's so wonderful about Miyazaki movies. When there's a huge crowd of them, whether it's the Kodama or the Wada Wada or the Soot Sprites or whatever, they're all unique, right? And the level of detail in the backgrounds, in the little characters that most people probably wouldn't even pay attention to.
Right.
Anime, and I love anime. There's an ongoing thing that is actually, I love it because I think it's hilarious. It's low quality anime, like shots of people from whatever, One Piece, just for example, in the background, and people will take a still image of it and blow it up, and you're like, holy shit, Luffy, you look like hell.
Right.
Because they didn't put any effort into it because it was like way back there. Miyazaki doesn't do that shit. No. Every single one of these, even if it is a huge pain in the ass to animate, is unique, distinctive, every bit of Howl's Moving Castle when it falls apart. Like,
they're not reusing animation here.
And no, and everything is
anime,
unique.
especially like the anime I grew up on, the things like Dragon Ball, Sailor Moon, those types of things back in the 90s, absolutely reused animation all the time. And you could tell.
Yeah.
And for something like this, like you mentioned, because look, when you have, as an animator, when you have like something that you need to animate 100 of, you want them to be simple characters.
Yeah.
So the Soot Sprites, the things like the Kodama, things like that, these are very simple looking characters. But like you said, each one will have a different facial expression,
or a different shaped head, or like some are a little taller.
So that's how they hid the work that it would take to animate, because you don't want these things to be too intricate, because then you're getting into a very time consuming.
But like if you look at, you know, Howl's room, or like I said, the castle when it falls apart, and you know, there's sometimes just we're watching these movies and I'm like, God damn, that must have been hell to animate.
Yeah, a lot of it. Well, and even in like Ponyo, whenever the storm comes in and all the waves are going.
Oh yeah,
you
sure.
know, there are these incredibly intricate animated
and
moments,
smooth movements, the wind across the flowers in a field, anything you can think of. It's they spare no expenses, John Hammond.
Well, and there's one other aspect of the animation, and while we're on the topic, that we really need to get into, because anime does this extremely well. Food.
Dude, to this day, I maintain that the breakfast in Howl's Moving Castle is the tastiest fucking bacon and eggs you will ever see in your life.
Most of these films have some kind of moment where they're eating food, making food, cooking food, whatever. It is incredibly well done. It just looks so edible.
Yeah. It's I want the dumpling that Chihiro eats in Spirited Away.
Absolutely. And like you mentioned in Howl's Moving Castle, like while they're cooking bacon and eggs, and the way that the eggs are moving, and it's done
and
very,
the bacon
very well.
crisps gently over time.
Yeah, I mean, this is quality animation.
Yeah. Well, and in Howl's Moving Castle too, one of my favorite aspects of it, I think a lot of people just like Howl, right? Because they think he's like super hot or whatever.
Right. I mean, it's that fantasy dream pixie boy character that women are into these days.
Whatever. The point of Howl's Moving Castle for me, and why I love it, why it's my favorite, is Sophie. And you see so much of, there's so many little moments that it's masterful directing by Miyazaki, because he has to direct the animation, because the curse that's on her changes her appearance in so many ways, dependent on her feeling, on her mood, onto how she feels about herself, how she feels in the situation, her confidence, everything. And it changes frame by frame. And it's done so well, and never commented on in the movie either. People just, they don't, whether it's Markle or Howl or Calcifer, they're never like, oh, you're looking young today. It's never, they're just like, oh, you have a curse on you, because they're all magical too. So they just see it for what it is. And I do wonder if Howl, maybe Calcifer, Probably not Markle because he's the little boy. You know, he's like an apprentice voiced by Josh Hutcherson of Hunger Games fame and
Right.
Five Nights at Freddy's movies. But
I'll take your word for it.
well, he's in them. We saw the trailer and you're like, isn't that the guy from the Hunger Games? I was like, yes.
You say
Anyways,
so.
God, I wonder if they always saw Sophie for who she is rather than what she looked like. If they could just see the young person in there. I don't know. It's really interesting, and I relate a lot.
I
to
always assumed that the curse was
Sophie.
just fucking with her head and hers.
No,
alone.
not at all. Because everybody who's around her sees her as old.
Hal doesn't.
No, oh my God. Yes, I know. That's what I'm saying. I wonder if Hal and Calcifer alone actually see who she is.
All right.
Because everybody else is like, you're so old. Her mom says, oh my God, you look so old.
Right.
You know, and Markle calls her grandma and all of that stuff. But Hal, like I said, I relate a lot to her in that you don't take compliments well because you don't actually have you don't feel that within yourself. So when Howl's like, what are you talking about? You're beautiful. She's like, it's okay. I'm old. Like, the good thing about being old is you don't really have to care what other people think. And it becomes this thing that she can hide behind to like deflect from what she feels she's lacking. And I think it's done so well. And that is her arc is learning to accept love from any source, and again, she does this found family thing from, with Turniphead and Markle and Calcifer. Calcifer, oh my God, he's so good. It's my favorite Billy Crystal thing ever. It's not even close.
Yeah, Billy Crystal's quite good.
He's so good. I loved the hell out of Calcifer. And I love his and Sophie's relationship.
Oh, and I meant to say too, like when we were talking about Princess Mononoke,
Yeah.
Maybe don't let your little kids watch that one. That one is very bloody
and it starts out
scary
that way. Yeah, with the boar demon.
I was actually surprised at how, because I this is like probably the second time I had watched it.
Oh God!
And I had seen it so long ago that I had forgotten.
Times.
But yeah, I was like, man, this is like really not for kids.
Well, intentionally, like that one is one that has maybe the strongest environmental message.
Right.
And
absolutely.
it's purposefully done. This is what fucking happens when you try to kill nature. End of story.
And even that one too. I mean, when we were talking about like the intricate animation, that one has a lot of intricate, like squiggly animation with like whenever the animals get possessed.
Yeah, when they become demons. Yeah, it gets super squiggly, and then you have the boar at the beginning who, it's like it's that time lapse. That's what I was trying to think of. It's the time lapse footage of, and I hate that it's a fox. If you ever saw that video of like the fox rotting, it's like a red fox, but it's time lapse footage, and it just and you watch it decay. I hate that, but it's what I think of because the same thing happens with the boar in that, and that's again really well done. It kind of melts into nothing after it's destroyed.
Just be aware. There's a lot of frightening imagery in that.
Specifically Princess Mononoke. I'd say 10, 12 years old should be fine.
Yeah,
but the baby's probably
decaying
not.
Animals, so there's a lot of like anatomy and stuff.
And it's one of the most violent because then Ashitaka obviously he gets the curse. And he can like shoot arrows and knock people's heads off and their arms off and stuff like that. It's not insanely graphic, but if your kid's at a Ponyo age, don't show them Princess Mononoke.
Right, yeah.
Grow into that because they also will get more of the messaging out of it.
And even like The Boy and the Heron, there is a scene with the fish.
Oh, sure.
Where the guts kind of spill out of it and everything. So
it's a little cartoony. That's at least the fish is already dead.
Yeah, and just be aware that.
Yeah,
I would definitely like you mentioned, 12. 10,
yeah,
10 to 12
10 to
okay
12 should be fine.
It's
hard for me because I mean, I've said many times on the podcast, I'm an 80s kid. My dad showed me shit long before I should have. So it's hard.
We were absolutely raised on 80s movies where children died.
Well, or things like fucking Watership Down.
Yeah.
Just because it's animated,
Yeah,
and
dude,
the Plague Dogs.
Our kids' movies had stakes.
Just because it's animated does not mean it's for kids. And I have gone into movie stores and made them move things like Watership Down and the Plague Dogs from the children's section. I'm like, guys, have you ever seen this?
Yep.
You might as well put Fritz the Cat over there.
No, I mean, that shit
heavy
worked.
metal.
That worked to my benefit when I was a kid because, like I said, I was watching things like Ghost in the Shell and Ninja Scroll, things that were just like not for children, just because of the sexual nature and nudity and stuff in it. But because it was a cartoon, my mom was like, "Oh yeah."
Oh, see, yeah, no, it was my dad going, "Oh no, you'll like this."
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
By the way, has anyone ever told you look just like Carol Ann while he's showing me Poltergeist? Yes, thank you, and I did. But anyways,
as just a personal preference, if you had to have like 3 of these movies that like you could only watch 3 of these movies
House
for the
Moving
rest
Castle,
of your
Spirited
life.
Away, Princess Mononoke, done.
Okay. Yeah.
Not to say I don't really enjoy other ones, but those are my 3 favorites.
I would definitely put Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, and I do think Boy and the Heron.
Boy and the Heron is very good. Princess Mononoke is one that I've loved for so long, you know, and I love the way the messaging is handled, because that's another one where the antagonist, Lady Eboshi, is morally gray, but she's not without redeeming qualities. She gathered everybody from brothels. She took the lepers in when nobody would, and actually really does care about her people. She just also really wants to kill the forest and make iron. So it's a complex thing. She is the antagonist and she has villainous qualities, but she's not evil. She's just in opposition to the forest.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But she's still a person with a heart and motives that you understand, even if I can't agree with them.
This is something else that I wanted to hit on too, is the way that they handle villains.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get me wrong, most of these films don't even have villains. Like Ponyo, is it really a villain?
No, there
situation?
is no villain. I mean, because her dad isn't bad. He's trying to. Well, The Cat Returns isn't a Miyazaki movie. That's a Studio Ghibli movie. That's just one that we watched. But yeah. My Neighbor Totoro doesn't really have a villain. Possible death. You know, it's more like abstract concepts.
Right.
Sometimes.
But when you take something like Howl's Moving Castle with the Witch of the Waste.
Yeah.
Like
who even then turns into.
Right. She's clearly the villain of the film, but like becomes an ally, or just at least.
She loses her power and comes around. Yeah. And
at least no more a threat.
Yeah, so you've got Madame Solomon, who, you know, is an antagonist. I would say War is the antagonist in Howl's Moving Castle, which again is this concept rather than a person.
That's kind of one of the things that surprised me about The Boy and the Heron too, because going into this, like,
what did you know about it?
Nothing.
You were like, I know there's a boy and a heron.
I knew it was a Miyazaki film by Studio Ghibli.
Yeah,
that's it. And I had seen the trailer, but like. You can't be prepared for where this movie is going to take you, because as you're watching it, when you know in the first like 20 minutes or something, they set the story up.
Yeah.
You know, the main character's mother has passed away. His father has remarried. So now he's going to move to a new place to live with the new mother and all this. And that's where he meets the heron, is on the property of the new home.
He's dealing with trauma of losing his mother and having to be a good boy and accept this new person.
But he's also at that age where it's like, he's trying to become a man.
Yeah.
You know, he's in that weird tween era.
He's such a little sir.
He's a Japanese tween, which is far different than Western
especially
cultures.
In 1940s.
Because we have 40-year-olds who still act like children here. You know what I mean? But over there, like, this is a moment in his life where he's like, you let go of the childish things, you embrace the adult things. And what I thought was how this was going to turn out was that the heron was like the spirit of his dead mother. And I thought that it was going to be this like cathartic way for him to let go of the sadness that he had for her. Which,
while that's not the heron, that is the point.
Right. But the heron becomes the antagonist.
Kind of, yeah, and for a little bit. But
it was very strange because I was very taken back by that whole concept. So it is like, It is kind of jarring.
Well, I did think it was interesting the first time I saw it because it's been so long since I got to see a Miyazaki movie for the first time, right? So you're like, I have no idea where I'm going on this,
Right,
but I trust him.
I
So
purposefully didn't want things spoiled for me on this.
So when he sets out to try and kill the heron, I was like,
exactly.
Whoa,
Yeah, he's like
hold on.
actively trying to kill this
He's like
thing.
making a bow and arrow.
And I had no idea because I was like, oh, the setup here is going to be very simple. It's
Sure.
the spirit of his dead mother. He's going to use this as, symbolically letting her go.
Right.
And no,
not at all.
It did
And
not
yet,
at all.
throughout the course of the story, you did get the heart of it correct.
Yeah.
But obviously there's a lot more to it, and it goes places that are just crazy, and places that are so much more
This is another one of those like through the looking glass type.
Yeah, well, I
stories.
said this is Narnia.
Yeah,
this is his Narnia.
It's definitely another one of those otherworldly, just like Castle in the Sky became once they get to Laputa, it becomes like a different movie altogether.
Yes, and that's the part I really love. I mean, the rest of it's good, and I really do enjoy the camaraderie and love and friendship that they develop. But yeah, what I love about Castle in the Sky is Laputa, and how much of it is not explained, and how it takes the antagonist there, who is he's one of the Muska. He's one of the few people who is really just a villain, right?
Mm-hmm.
In Miyazaki movies, he wants to take Laputa for himself because he and she are both of the same bloodline.
Yes, he's basically a
Mark
James
Hamill.
Bond villain.
And I think you shouldn't trust anybody who uses, what are they called? It's those changeable lenses that, they become sunglasses when you go outside. It's that type of shit. That's what his glasses look like to me. Like they're like this in-between stage.
Right.
But no, he doesn't even want to regain the throne of Laputa for anything good. He wants to fucking kill the world with it, like unleash everything.
Yeah. And just to give you a little bit of context here, this character is voiced by Mark Hamill.
Yeah, and full-on Joker-y.
Yes, he does sound an awful lot like the Joker from the Batman animated series.
Mm-hmm. So, and he does a great job in that.
Yeah.
I much prefer Mark Hamill as a voice actor. I don't care about Star Wars. Don't care. But yeah. So so all of that is really, but most of the knowledge of Laputa is just kind of hinted at through this little book that he has been collecting, and he drops all this lore because he's been working on it, but so much of it is never really explained. We don't actually know how or why a lot of this stuff works or what it was actually intended for. Mm-hmm. But it's okay. We don't have to be hand-fed everything.
No, and I would say it's better if you don't, because you're figuring these things out through the lens of the main character.
Well, because
regardless who they are.
And I'll tell you why, and this is the fucking difference. I don't have to be told everything because I know Miyazaki knows. He actually wrote this one, right? He wrote Castle in the Sky.
Right.
I believe that he fully understands everything about Laputa, and so therefore gets to pick and choose what to show and what not to show. Whereas previous things we've talked about, like the Max, I don't think you fucking know. It's so mysterious. No, I don't think you actually fucking know. Miyazaki knows, and he just chooses what to show.
He is a master at just giving you just enough information at just the right times to piece together what's going on until it builds into this like incredibly poignant.
Could be poignant, complex.
These stories are very poignant. Like once you get to the results, I'm telling you, man, when it comes to any one of these movies, the last like 20, 25 minutes are going to be an incredible experience.
100%.
Because you've earned it. Mm-hmm. It earns the ending because it's giving you this information, little bits at a time, little breadcrumbs here and there to follow you, string you along until you reach that point where you're like, okay, this makes sense.
Yes. And even if you don't ever get all of the answers, which you almost never will in any of these, you're still left satisfied at the end. The conclusion is pleasing. There is enough there to go, okay, I'm good. I don't actually have to know every little bit of everything. It's fine.
Yeah. And to me, the way that this works, and I think the reason why these films have and will stand the test of time
100%
is because these are incredibly well done, nuanced modern fairy tales.
Yep.
These are fairy tales. Every single one of these stories is unique, despite the fact that there's so many of them. Now you can see little things that kind of connect them, especially through the animation and the way that the characters are drawn, things like that.
There's a Miyazaki style.
It's definitely a Miyazaki verse.
Yeah. Oh, sure.
But each one of these films are so incredibly unique. They're unique experiences, and they really do treat you, regardless who you are, whether you're a kid or an adult, they treat you like an adult.
They treat you with respect.
These are not like...
They don't insult your intelligence.
Right. They're not insulting you in any kind of way. This is a very good use of your time.
It's an invitation to join in whatever adventure happens to be having. Like, whether it's some big grand battle type thing or a small farm. Like, the scope varies widely depending on the movie you're talking about. There is always some kind of journey, whether it's physically or not. Most characters have fully developed character arcs. Nobody's really left lacking, and everybody's left changed by the end. And they're usually better off for it. Yeah.
And, another theme that runs through these films too are the relationships between the characters and, the sadness if they have to leave. Like, you feel that there's weight to the story. There's weight to the emotions in these characters because they just spent the entire time together. Now it's time to say goodbye.
And sometimes you don't have a lot of time to say goodbye. That's something, and I won't say what exactly. The boy and the heron fucking killed me because it's such a quick thing. And I gotta go.
Yeah.
Done. And God.
But yeah, if there's one thing that I can just really, really credit Hayao Miyazaki for instilling in these movies and putting in every single one of them is the gravity of the situations. It's the weight of the characters, the development between the characters. These stories, they go by so quick. It's so good that you don't even realize how quickly these films are moving along, with the exception of maybe Totoro.
No, you should go back and watch it.
I do think
the importance of friendship, and that friendship can look so different. Like, there's so many different kinds of friendship and love out there, and you can find it in the weirdest places, even if you look nothing alike. Even if you're like, I'm a girl and you're a fire.
Yes. And this is going to be one of those things in, human history that we could point to and say, see, this is why AI is not as good.
Oh, he is staunchly, publicly, extraordinarily anti-AI.
Yeah,
he calls it
I don't care how pro AI you are. There's no way AI is creating films on this level.
He calls AI an insult to life itself.
I agree.
So
100%.
He absolutely.
Yeah, AI should not be creating art for us. It should not be taking our humanity away. It should be a tool at best to pay our taxes.
So, if there's one thing you don't have to worry about, at least while Miyazaki-san is alive, you don't have to worry about AI being in any Studio Ghibli film whatsoever.
Yeah. Well, is there anything you wanted to add to, what do you think about?
Well, I know Miyazaki-san's a big fan of our podcast, so I just wanted to take this moment to thank him. Genuinely, these are true masterpiece works of art that have brought a lot of value to my life for decades. And I will always rewatch them. I don't watch them all that often, but it is always special. And I never feel like I've wasted my time doing so. Yeah. They're wonderful. And I'll just put it out there to the universe.
Yeah, each and every one of these films.
That was me putting it out to the universe. Thank you, Mr. Miyazaki.
Every single one of these films deserve your time. And I think that that's really the best way. That's the best compliment you can really give to any film, because how many movies come out these days that we watch that I'm
much trying to take our fucking attention from social media to YouTube to all these streaming services. You and I get so overwhelmed and irritated trying to pick something to fucking watch. There's too much.
Yep. Not only do we waste our time trying to find something to watch, but then we finally do, and we wasted our time watching the thing we chose because it sucks.
This is never a waste of time.
No.
A Miyazaki movie is never a waste of time.
Yeah. And I highly recommend each and every one of you go out and listen.
Yep.
And yeah,
Buy them.
you're going to find something you love. And I assume if
Own
you're
them.
listening to this, you're a fan of Studio Ghibli anyway.
And if
but-
not, what the fuck? Get on board, man. Where have you been? Welcome to the club.
All right, well, I guess we can call that an episode. Jess, where can people find you?
I'm Jess Moon. I am at _Jess Moon on Instagram. I am still on Twitter. You can find me at JHL Moon if you want. And I do have an independent publishing house, No AI. We are also extraordinarily public anti-AI at Shadow Spark Publishing. Thank you. No AI of, generative AI of any kind in the books, in the covers, in any of that. It's an insult to life itself. And so, yeah, check us out.
All right. You can find me on Instagram at deadbeat_Chad. You can follow the podcast on Instagram as well at the Pretty Little Podcast. We've got the YouTube channel where you can listen to all of our audio episodes. And that is YouTube.com.
Featuring the thumbnails made by Deadbeat Chad himself.
Yes, all the thumbnails are made by me.
It's true.
That's at youtube.com/at the Pretty Little Podcast 69420. Thank you to each and every one of you for downloading, for listening, for sharing this, for liking, commenting, subscribing, ringing that bell. Ring it.
Let us know if you've rung the bell.
Yeah, comment down below. Did you ring the bell? Anyways. Yeah, I really do appreciate everybody that takes time out because much
For real.
like Miyazaki films deserve your time, hopefully we do as well.
Hopefully, maybe, yes.
And I really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, so we see you next time.
Until next time, guys.
Stay pretty.
Stay little. One of these days, you're going to do the Stay podcast.
I'm-
That's how this shit works. If you want to do it, you got to do it, and then I do it, then you do it.
Bye.
Ah. Mwah.